Hello, and welcome to the Scare Review. I'm Maggie Tilker.
And I'm Sarah Mick, and today we're talking about My Bloody Valentine. And we're talking about the release date, February 11th, 1981, with the director George Milhaka, Stephen Miller as a writer, and John Baird as a writer.
Awesome. So the synopsis of My Bloody Valentine from Wikipedia is... My Bloody Valentine is a 1981 Canadian slasher film directed by George Mihalka and written by John Baird. Is that the same person who you just said? Okay, great. Checks out. The film tells the story of a group of teenagers who decide to throw a Valentine's Day party only to incur the vengeful wrath of a maniac in mining gear who begins a murder spree. Stars Paul Kelman, Laurie Hallier, and Neil Affleck. And I looked it up, and Neil Affleck is no relation to Ben or Casey Affleck. He is just a Canadian actor who likes hockey.
Just a regular Canadian guy.
So we watched this episode, or this movie, on a digital streaming channel. We used Amazon. So it's available on the streaming channel of your choice to rent or buy.
Yeah, $2.99 on Amazon. That's what ours was.
As of this date, 2017. So we recommend definitely go watch the movie if you haven't seen it already, and then come back and listen. Otherwise, you're just going to hear a bunch of funny commentary and you may not get the full story. But
also, if you don't feel like watching, we'll give you the good stuff right here. So just keep listening.
At least what we think is worth talking about. Do you want to talk about the drink?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So, this episode is brought to you by My Bloody Starbucks Espresso. That's what we're both drinking.
Yeah. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We weren't quite ready to crack open the booze yet. So that's what we're doing. All right. So, let's get started. First of all, Sarah, have you seen this movie before?
I think I have to have, because I'm familiar with it. And I swear I would have seen the 2009 one. Mm-hmm. But when we watched it, I had zero memory of any of it. So I think it was either very forgettable for me or I just saw it a long time ago.
Same. I feel like maybe Sarah and I have been friends since for a long time, since we were 11 or 12 years old, and we used to watch a lot of scary movies together. And I feel like maybe this is the kind of one that we would have rented at Blockbuster,
and we're
on
15.
VHS. Yeah. So I mean, I may have seen it. I don't recall. I definitely did see the remake when it came out. But I didn't remember anything about it either.
No, me either. So it was new to us.
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, did you like it? I mean, that might be a tough question. There's parts of it that we can talk about.
I mean, I would say that there were some parts that were enjoyable. It was not, it certainly was not my favorite, for just a bunch of different reasons, which will become apparent as we go through my notes here. Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think the first place to start is this, pre-credits scene. Mm-hmm. So we are introduced to two folks in coal miner costumes. Mm-hmm. Costumes?
I guess outfit,
uniforms.
Uniforms, I suppose. Protective
gear. Coal miner. They appear to be two coal miners. But all of us in the room audibly gasped when one of the coal miners took off the mask and revealed they were a sexy lady.
Yep. And the best part of this is that throughout the beginning, before we realize that one of them is a lady, is the heavy, mask breathing, which then becomes weirdly sexual once the woman reveals that she's wearing a bra underneath. And then the two coal miners are now touching each other. And
so she's stroking his air pipe.
Yep. I put that. That's exactly my note. Stroking the hose. Penis vibes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of panting, so I'm are they getting it in and we just don't see it? But I don't think so.
No.
I think it was just the breathing in the mask. So she shook her hair out. I put that hair flip because she has this golden blonde hair and she just flips it. So she had some sass. So then she goes to take off his mask, so they can get down, and he's no. I don't think he said no. He just shook his head and stopped her. So it's no, don't remove my creepy mask. All right.
But it's really awkward and super strange.
So my question about this, I mean, I have a lot of questions, but who is he supposed to be in the first place? And how did this like switcheroo happen? If this is her boyfriend, he had to have like, okay, well, first of all, is this something this girl and her boyfriend do a lot? Later we'll find out there's no women allowed in the mine as a rule.
Yeah.
So do they normally dress up in miner suits to sneak down 2,700 feet or however far into this mine to like get it on? Like, it seems like there's a better way.
It was all so silly. And like, I think I guess they achieved what they wanted, because when they started taking off their suits, everyone who was watching it with us was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!"
Yeah.
So I suspect there was very little story writing there going on.
I mean, it's just probably assumed her boyfriend works in the mine. They like to sneak down there. It is a lot of work that she has to put on the full miner suit in order to sneak down there.
Like
with
just
him.
Some casual mining role play.
Like, whoa, I didn't think about the role play element. Like, maybe she likes to be the miner. But then also, like, how did this guy fool her into thinking like this is her boyfriend? Like, he just like silently like was like motioning to her in his miner suit, like, come with me. I don't know. So it was a real bait and switch here that happened behind the scenes. So I said, bam, her shirt comes off and she has a heart tattoo.
That was kind of cool.
Right over her heart.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, cool tattoo.
It's like keeping with the Valentine's theme, like, and the heart over the heart. And I mean, there's way more like heart stuff that happens throughout the movie. So, once you see that tattoo,
then she just, this part I just have this noted as being really cool, that, once you see this tattoo, I'm just going to jump to what happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, she gets stabbed backwards with like I guess what he puts his like pickaxe behind her.
Oh, really? Is that what it was? I said,
like when
she gets impaled right through the tattoo on some mine debris, because I didn't know if it was something that's coming out of the wall.
He had put his pickaxe against the wall, like he puts it down, but he put it sideways, so technically it wouldn't have been sticking out like that, so she wouldn't have been able to be impaled on it. But that's what I think.
So he pushed her back onto his pickaxe, and it went straight through her heart and the heart tattoo,
which was cool to see the spike coming through the heart tattoo. I was like, oh, nice,
good aim on that. Impaling,
excellent work. Mining
and also then her scream, I think that was like the intro to the credits. Okay, we should like find that clip and like play the audio. So insert scream here. Can we do that? Her scream's pretty epic. It's probably the best scream of the film, unless you noticed any other ones. And so the actress there was Pat Hemingway, known only for this movie and one other film in 1980. So
she looks good today, though. We looked her up.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, nice work, Pat. Sorry, your time was cut short.
And then this goes to the opening screen. My note for the opening screen is just logo, 80s graphic design, bomb.
Was that the one with like the two hearts as the O's and like blood dripping? It was really cool. I like it too. So yeah, and then I think the first thing that I said is that we're introduced to this group of young miners.
Yeah.
So they're like in the mine, finishing up their work. It's closing time. And then they all come up to the surface into this like shower room.
This is like one of the best parts of the whole movie. It's so funny.
These guys are like loving life. Like, I just gotta say.
They're happy as hell.
They are taking off their mining gear. They are wrestling, they are stripping, and they are showering together. Yeah. And very homoerotic, I said.
Yeah, totally.
Also, how much coal dust is really on a miner's face?
So I was thinking the same thing, because the makeup for them is crazy. I'm not concerned so much about the quantity of the dust as the quality, because you can see like streaks where someone was actually applying black makeup.
Oh, really? It was straight up black. Like, I mean, coal is like black.
Photos of people in mines, like actually working, they do have a lot on their face if they've been down there for a long time.
So that could be realistic, but it's like a day's work. And they wear the mask though. See, maybe not always.
I don't think that they really do wear that mask. I don't think that mask is like a real coal. I don't think it's an average day's work.
Is that mask just what they wear into like the exploded part of the mine, maybe to be like safe
from the what's from
like gas or something?
Whatever kind of gas.
Like the kind that kills canaries in a mine, in a cave.
If you know anything about coal mining, send us an email.
Yeah, please. Okay, anyway, so the coal dust, I guess I'll buy it then. There is a lot. Because their faces are seriously blackened. Also, yeah, so another, like, and that's pretty much it. Like, they're all like...
Except for the part where I can't remember which guy it is, but Axel, one of the main guys,
blonde guy?
like, just screams at the top of his lungs, "It's gonna be a hot Saturday night!"
Oh.
like screams, and all the men, like, freeze from showering and watch him. Like, what an odd...
So this
behavior.
was Saturday night.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, okay, because this was
Either
another...
he's talking about upcoming Saturday night.
Maybe, because the upcoming Saturday night was going to be the dance. Okay,
yeah.
so I believe in the sequence of events, this is actually Thursday.
Yeah.
So this is what I've come to the conclusion of. This is Thursday. They party every night like it's the last night on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, party like there's no tomorrow.
All day in the mines,
Like,
all night at the bar.
Work hard, play hard for these miners. So then we're introduced, I think it's then...
It's like they show this town, which
Yeah.
I didn't realize they actually live in, like, Valentine Bluffs.
Yep, so the next,
Which is
we're
cute.
introduced to the town next. So, like, cut away from the miners, we see the town. It's Valentine Bluffs. And then
creative.
when we go into town, we see two characters, I believe, maybe three. We see Mabel,
The olds.
Mayor Harrington, and possibly the sheriff. I don't know if he was with
He's
them
standing
too.
around, yeah. He comes
Yeah,
in
and they
later.
are talking about the Valentine's Day dance that's coming up. So...
And the town is really nicely decorated. I love the the decor is just cute. They have, like,
Super cute.
little kid traditional hearts everywhere, and I wish there was a town that did this. I'd go and hang out during Valentine's
it's like your
Day.
classic small, like really small town, like, and they've got like banners hanging across the main drag with like hearts and like Valentine's dance advertisements, and even the laundromat is all decorated. Mabel's laundrette. Yeah. So that was cool. And then we go into, I guess, the like little hall where they're going to have the dance. And all the young women of the town are working on decorating the hall, and then the young men who have cleaned up from their soot and all this come
to
in,
meet their ladies.
They come on in and pair up. So everybody pretty much has a pair, like a
and
girlfriend.
this whole bit from the old folks to the young people and then everybody pairing off was, like, kind of annoying because the old folks are already alluding to, oh, there's a dance 20 years ago and now we're gonna have one again even though we shouldn't. And then, like, it's it's just, like, so obvious. It was, like, a little bit painful to watch.
They're all like, first dance in 20 years. It's just a lot of that. So
they say it like 45 times.
Oh yeah. But everyone's real excited. I just then said again, I said they're listening to Dolly Parton in there. So
Yeah.
So where are they? So first thing I thought was, like, coal miner, you think of like West Virginia, like Loretta Lynn style. But then also at one point they call it the Heartland, which may just be another play on heart, but that would mean it's in like the Midwest, like Indiana, Michigan, Ohio.
Yeah. But
So-
they sound like, we noticed, we're originally from Indiana, and we noticed that all of the actors sound like they're from Chicago or Milwaukee,
but they're really from Canada.
but they're all Canadian.
and in Canada.
So here's an interesting question. In 1981, did people who lived in Canada have the accent that people who live in Wisconsin and Chicago have now? Because it's like the UP or
I think
whatever.
they kind of do, because it's like, that's like a little bit of a northern United States Midwest accent, and in Canada is kind of a just more exaggerated version of that.
All the Canadians I know, though, speak like people in California.
Oh, no accent?
No.
Oh, they have that about.
I guess so. Interesting.
That was my Canadian impression.
That's what we know about Canada.
I'm great at that. So everybody pairs off with their partner except for one guy who we meet TJ.
Yeah.
Good old Tej. So he's this, like, I think he's supposed to be like the hottie of the movie. He's like the main guy. He's pretty moody.
He's
Is what I would say.
Just disturbing.
He's disturbing.
Well, it's weird to watch old movies because everyone has such yellow teeth, and I just can't get past that point. And I also don't understand the style, so I'm like, it's clear he's supposed to be the hot one, but he's got like a mop top and like weird skin and bright yellow teeth, and I'm just like, he wouldn't go for today.
Poor
He wouldn't
TJ.
pass.
I mean, if I had to choose someone from the film to be in a relationship with,
I might pick that weird mustache guy.
Okay, we'll get back to this later. So he's pretty moody, and like we find out through some chit chat of the townspeople that he was just in the West Coast and he like failed at the West Coast,
which is a little bit weird.
Does that mean California or like Vancouver?
I took it as California. I think
this is
California.
supposed to be in America.
Yeah.
So for some reason, he did not achieve his Hollywood dreams,
and I expected it to be like a big part of the movie, that somehow him going to California would like amount to something, or we'd find something out about it. It had nothing to do with it.
It's just like he's salty because he tried to go to California, do something different with his life other than be a coal miner like everyone else. And then his dad is there.
Yeah,
and his dad is
the
really
mayor.
like on his jock
His
about...
dad is the mayor, right?
Oh, is he?
Isn't that his dad?
I don't know.
I think it is.
A lot of these people kind of look...
They all look the same because it's 1981
also,
and everyone
like,
has the same haircut.
Just to mention, I think it's 100% white people in Valentine Bluffs. Like 100%.
There's not a single person that's not like
not
just
white.
Real white.
Just 100% white. So, I mean...
It's hard to tell them
white
apart.
Guys. Yeah, I mean, sorry. Like, I'm white, but like when everyone's the same age, same gender, same race.
It's like who dat?
So I guess that his dad might be the mayor. But anyway, his dad's really on his jock about working at the mine. We found out later his dad owns the mine. So that'd be cool.
Well, yeah, Mayor... What's her...
Harrington. Is it Harrington Mine?
Harrington Mines, yeah.
Oh, so he's really like a busy guy owning a mine
and
mayor of the town. I mean, it's a very small town. There's like 10 people, so.
So, speaking of the mayor, the next part is ridiculous. Maggie, what do you think about the first spooky part of the film? The revealing in the pickup truck with the police officer
and the mayor. So, I thought that his reaction... Okay.
I like that you say you go right to your reaction, because that's exactly what I have written in my notes.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So we had our first kill. So it was Mabel, R.I.P. I think that the killer is trying to send a message to the mayor that like this Valentine dance is not cool with him or her.
Right.
So a Valentine's Day heart-shaped box has been delivered, and he's like excited about it and thinks that it's like a
regular
gift,
old
right?
gift.
And he opens it. It's a human heart. Bloody human heart.
Not very convincing though, but maybe for the early 80s that was where it was at.
And his reaction, I had a note about this, was not very realistic. Yeah, reaction a little weird to heart in a box is what I said. So if you have more about that,
Oh yeah. So first of all, they're in the car. It's not scary. There's no indication. It's not a jump scare. There's no spooky music, no tension building. He's just casually like a older middle-aged man, happy as hell to get this box of chocolates.
Does he think it's from Mabel, by the way?
Was it the
from
card? Yeah, I don't
Mabel?
think he reads the card until after. Oh. So if so, he was real eager to get into those chocolates, not to read the card.
One of them, either the sheriff or the mayor, was like into Mabel, but then found out she was dead.
Oh, I think it was the next
sheriff.
person. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
so he opens it and he instantly grabs his head, like, and is like, looks like he's convulsing, but just very gently, especially for having a human heart on his lap. And he just says, "This can't be happening
again.
It can't be," like with about that much emotion.
I put, "It can't be happening again." It can't be happening again.
I would say that is the weirdest part of the whole movie. The rest of it, when things are spooky, they're adequately weird. But this was just like...
You know who had another weird reaction to a death? The, like, bro at the party later, when they go to the mine.
The guy who, like, loses his shit beyond?
Yeah, but at first he didn't.
Oh.
Like, when was he the one whose girlfriend was hanging from
the water?
The water spigot?
Yeah.
And he was just, like,
staring at her for, like, 40 seconds.
Yeah. So there's some reactions that could be, I think, a little more. But then he did lose his shit later.
Yeah.
So
like, to the point where he was somehow then covered in sweat and couldn't say another line the rest of the movie.
So we'll just say he was very traumatized and in shock. But, yeah, the human heart in the box was the first indication things are not going as planned.
And then, the next part that I'm talking about is that it's starting to annoy me how people are being so ominous throughout the whole movie.
Okay.
Like, in the beginning, the mayor and Mabel and the sheriff, or chief, I think they call him, they're all like, it's the 20th day, and blah, blah, blah. And now they're talking to the kids, and now... what's the name of that guy? Happy. He's like, beware the 14th.
Okay, yeah. That's where I go next, because they're at the bar again, because all they do is rage.
And apparently, so they, like, have come from work all day to now
This is
decorating
Friday,
the town hall.
I think, or this might still be Thursday.
I thought it was the same day.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they were decorating the town hall, and now they're at the bar because it's a little later. And yeah, Happy is the bartender, and he's an older gentleman.
Yeah, and he's just like going on and on about how, you know, he like, which I actually like him. I think he's my favorite
I kind
character.
of like him too.
But it's just annoying. It's like, okay, I get it. Clearly something's going to happen on February 14th. And also the kids, the main characters, are playing with knives.
Oh, yeah. I have some notes about this. So, okay. I'm saying these guys party nonstops. And so they are getting drunk at the bar, and they're playing a game where they quickly stab a knife between their fingers until someone hits a finger.
Yeah.
And I think the person who loses has to take a shot.
Oh, I don't know.
No, by the next round.
Oh, okay.
So this freaking guy, Axel, I think, ends up stabbing his finger, right? Mm-hmm. And then he has to buy the round of beers. And he... So I'm like, that's not like a game that people usually play. I've never seen someone...
I mean, I've heard of people like being like... who are risky sorts, being like, oh, look at what I can do, in movies only, of course, and being like, look, I'm gonna, you know,
put the knife between the fingers.
But it's not like you play it until you cut your finger off as a game.
And also, like, if that was my bar, I'd be mad that they were stabbing my table,
right? And I'd
be like, don't bring a sharp knife into the bar either.
Well, like, those 80s people were allowed to do what they wanted. Also, like, from a production standpoint, the close up of this is like clumsy hands from like off screen slamming around knives on like plastic, like goop filled rags that are supposed to stand for fingers. It's horrible, the visual.
I didn't notice that they were fake fingers. I mean, obviously they'd have to do fake fingers.
And then when he gets stabbed, he like doesn't have any bones in his hands.
He's just
spurts blood.
Yeah, there was just like a little divot in there that just had some blood. And it also, the shots were really interesting in this part because it would go back and forth between a close-up front and center just shot of Happy's face, the bartender, just staring at at who knows what, to a close-up of the hand with the knife going between, and then Happy, and then the hand, and then Happy. And it was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I think they're like trying to build suspense, but it was all, I mean, now it was all funny.
Yeah, so I mean, he stabbed himself, as you would. Like, I mean, the kind of games people would play at the bar when I was, like in college.
Dice.
Yeah, dice, or that thing, the pull tabs, or
pull tabs,
or like quarters.
Or like flip cup.
Yeah, nothing dangerous with knives. Nothing that could you hurt.
Especially not like play with this knife until you're stabbed and then you gotta go buy everybody's drinks. That's a shitty losing game.
Yeah, these guys are wild. So like, then I go into, there's a lot of product placement for this beer. Moosehead beer. And I didn't know that it was a real beer. It's pretty much all anybody drinks, and they're like, hey, give me a Moosehead after he stabs himself.
And there's Moosehead signs in the background.
There's a Moosehead sign in the bar, and it turns out it is a real beer. Originally, it was just brewed in Canada for a long time, like since like the 1800s. But just before this movie came out in 1978, it was released into the U.S. So I think they thought, by sponsoring this movie that was going to be in the U.S., that it would like promote Moosehead in the United States.
Well, this ended up being like a classic horror film, so I wonder if that was successful.
Yeah, I mean, like I was reading about it, and like the actual like president of Moosehead or whatever decided to start like releasing it into the US in 1978, and this is 1981. So I think it was definitely timed, but like that's the only obvious product placement, and normally in older movies you don't really see a lot of product placement.
Moosehead was kind of ahead of their time.
Maybe like go we should have been drinking Moosehead.
Oh, we're so stupid. Next time we'll put more thought into our drinks
at the liquor store here.
I don't know. It is still in production in America.
Well, yeah. So I went to their website today. So if we do the remake, we could get it.
Oh, we'll drink it for the remake.
But then what if they have something different, like Pepsi Max?
We'll ignore that because we're going to stick to the original.
So good timing for Moosehead. So then Happy, after this goes into the whole spiel about the original Valentine's Day massacre that happened 20 years ago. So there's actually 21 years ago was the beginning of the story in 1960. And do you want to talk about what happened then, or do you want?
You can tell.
Okay.
It. You're on a
So
roll.
long story short, 1960, there was an explosion in the mine, and it was Valentine's Day. It was the day of the Valentine's Day dance, which is a tradition. And there were 5 miners and 2 supervisors working in the mine, and the supervisors knocked out early to go to the dance, and the 5 miners were trapped in the explosion. So then, like days later, I don't know how long, they were like searching the mine, assuming everyone to be dead. They find one guy.
I think it was maybe like weeks later.
Really long time. It was a long time, because get this. They find one guy still alive, turned to cannibalism to survive. He was chomping on a leg, a leg
An
or
arm.
an arm, an arm.
Side note, which this will lead to some stuff that we'll say later in case we have time. In the theatrical release, the Canadian film folks said that he couldn't be biting on the arm because cannibalism was like too spooky or too edgy. And so in the theatrical release, he just picks up an arm that's severed. So you wouldn't have even known he was eating it if you were in the theater.
Yeah, you'd just be like, he found his buddy's arm. I mean, that's still pretty traumatizing. But what's funny is, and yeah, we can talk about this. Like, there was a lot of gore in this movie that had to be cut out. So they gave it.
There was nine full minutes of gore.
Yeah, they gave it an X rating, and then they cut out like a whole lot, and then they still were giving it an X rating, so they had to cut more until it was like 9 minutes cut out so that they could have an R rating. And then in 2009, with the remake coming up, they were able to re-release 3 minutes of previously unreleased footage. So I think the one we were watching
Was the 3-minute
had the
one.
3 minutes, because I think definitely we saw him chomping on that arm, because I knew that. I was like, whoa, he's like a cannibal now.
Yep.
So so he was really like messed up from being stuck in the mine and having to eat his friends, and he was really mad that the supervisors took off. So the following year on Valentine's Day, he had a killing spree where he killed the 2 supervisors.
Yep.
At the Valentine's dance. So then after that, for the next 19 years, they never had a
They
Valentine's
would
dance.
not have a dance.
So,
which,
yeah.
just an aside, it's very important for this town to have this Valentine's dance.
They're Valentine's bluffs. Like, what? So yeah, Happy like is very
Happy the bartender.
Yeah, he's like really doesn't want these kids to have the Valentine's dance. He's like definitely convinced it's going to happen again.
And again, he's like our sage guy. He's the guy that knows it all. He's like, what's his name from The Shining? He's like, we just reviewed the new Ring. He's like Gabriel from the new Ring movie.
Yeah,
He's the person who knows the story. He warns everybody, and of course, no one listens to him.
It's true. But this all makes me think like, okay, so Harry Warden, this guy who was the killer, like 20 years ago, clearly he's been locked up. I mean, he's not just like out, like hanging out. So why are they worried it's going to happen again? Like, why are they so worried?
Here's a few other things too. So why are they worried it's going to happen again? Also, why this year did they decide to have another Valentine's
Maybe
dance?
they feel like it's just long enough. Like 20 years, just long enough.
Yeah.
Like
Although
a new
that seems
generation.
like an anniversary.
Could also be kind of like the new generation of people, because these are like young 20-something kids. So like their kids would now be the age they were.
That's true.
I don't know. I'm just guessing here, folks. So, okay. So later. So after that flashback to 1960, we get a little flashback there with some cool music to indicate.
Yeah.
So then we see our friends, the young miner boys. They are at a junkyard.
This is interesting.
Cooking TV dinners on the inside of an old car. Smoking weed, drinking whiskey on a Thursday night. Pretty much.
Microwave.
Marvel, which was the microwave.
Yeah, it was really funny.
It's true. And you can't microwave metal like that. So
No, well, could you then?
no,
But they
you had to
were
put that
metal.
in the oven.
I don't know, it's weird.
I mean, you can't put plastic in your car, can't put metal in your microwave. So and then they're also drinking handles of whiskey and smoking weed, and then
and drinking whole
bottles of Jack, like a full bottle.
They have, at this point, we're only 40 minutes into the movie, have partied harder than I have
These
my entire
guys
life.
Have partied. They took it from the mine to the dance hall to the bar where they're stabbing fingers to the junkyard. This is majorly the after party.
And we were saying the whole time we're watching it, it has to be a Friday night. They can't go to work in the mines tomorrow.
Yeah,
but they do.
Working the mines has to be hard. With a hangover, I can't imagine.
Job.
So anyway, but they really know how to live. And then the funny part in the junkyard was when Axel and TJ were in the one junked car, and Axel pulls out his harmonica and starts playing, and then TJ pulls out a harmonica and they start playing together.
So my notes for this were harmonicas all the rage in the 80s? And then my other note was,
I think so.
These people would be my parents' age at this time, and my dad played harmonica.
My dad played a harmonica.
So I think it was a trend.
My dad even had that little thing, that little metal thing that you could play a harmonica hands-free while you play a guitar, cool. I feel like people played physical instruments when they were out doing stuff because there weren't
no technology.
Yeah, there weren't iPods. I don't know what to say, or other fun things to do, so they had to play instruments, which is great. But yeah, harmonicas must have been their jam. But then they start fighting over a girl because they're in a love triangle over this girl Sarah, who ends up being our final girl basically in this movie. And TJ had dated her before he went off to California, and now that he's back, this guy Axel is dating her.
Axel, who's a real jerk.
Yeah,
I mean they're both really weird.
Yeah. So, so that's what happened with them. They started fighting over her, not really acting like it's her choice who she wants to date.
No, and I just kept noting how forceful they were. It was really uncomfortable. They're getting in her physical space, standing oddly behind her shoulder and wrapping their head around her neck, being hey Sarah, so when are you gonna make up your mind? It was really weird.
It was a lot. So that brings us really well into the next scene where we meet Patty. Sarah and Patty are walking around, I think the next day, talking about going to the dance, and Sarah's maybe I won't go to the dance because I don't know who I'm gonna go with. And then Patty goes, "You have to see my dress, cut down to here, slit up to there. I may not get out alive."
My note, Sarah and Patty are a couple of young harlots.
I guess. But when you saw Patty's dress, it was very modest.
It was so modest. And Sarah girl was wearing a white wool full body
turtleneck
coat with thigh-high boots underneath.
Yeah, Sarah is no whore.
Yeah, she's a real prude, actually.
Not to slut shame. And
no, I'm just joking. I'm saying this all sarcastically.
Patty's dress was so modest though. It was like a V-neck. It was like a
DVF. It was like a Diane von Furstenberg wrap.
Was it?
It was a wrap dress.
It was just a red dress with a subtle V-neck and a slight
what we would now call New York City workwear, office wear.
Okay, we would call it that.
Maggie's I wouldn't call it that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know about that stuff. So cool. So yeah, what do you have next?
Oh, so then we go. Okay, so we go to the whole Mabel thing.
Yeah. So
we started to talk about this, but Mabel is in her laundrette and she gets the literal axe from the coal miner dude.
So something I think is kind of cool is this is part. I mean, kind of cool, but also kind of reused is we see through the killer's mask, the killer's point of view, and we hear the killer's breathing noises, which I think was made the most famous from Halloween, which was only it was made in 1978. So I think Halloween was a huge inspiration for this movie.
Also, just slashers in general, because the slasher era was early 70s through early 80s, and so this is kind of like the tail ends. So they had 10 years of experience in what would work for slashers, and they kind of just threw it all into this movie. So I think at the time it would have felt really common, or it would have felt
this
overused.
is how it's done. Oh,
And now
okay.
looking back, well, now we have the knowledge that became like a really famous era in horror movies. And as a horror movie fan, I'm like, oh, cool, I like what they're doing. But they're not doing it in a throwback way because they're doing it right on the tails of another.
Yeah.
So they're kind of, I mean, they were just ripping it off.
And of course we think of Halloween because that's like one of the most famous slashers, that and like Friday the 13th, and you know, like those are probably the most famous slashers. So of course we're gonna think, oh, they're ripping off Halloween, but really it had been happening for years. I actually looked up, I wanted to know when we started seeing the killer's point of view. So there was a 1973 film called Torso, directed by Sergio Martino, in which a masked killer, often shown using point of view shots, preys on co-eds seeking retribution for a past crime.
Oh, cool.
So
Was
that's
that
actually kind of like the first one.
Was that a mainstream movie or was that like a student film?
I think it was mainstream. I don't know much more about it, but it's called Torso. So you could,
I haven't seen that.
maybe we should
review that
watch
one.
that one. So this is our first. This was our first kill, Mabel.
Yeah.
We've already seen her heart. So I thought it was kind of cool how she fell out of the dryer and how she was kind of like cooked.
So this is another thing. I mean, and I think of Halloween because I think of when I was a kid, when I watched Halloween, and I hadn't seen that many really gruesome horror films. I couldn't believe the death reveal scenes in Halloween.
They pop out, like they swing down on a noose or pop out of a closet or stuff like that.
And so they're clearly going for that with this movie. So we've seen Mabel's heart. We know that she's dead, but when the sheriff walks into her laundrette, it's like a question of where is her body. And so my first thought was, oh, she's going to be in one of the dryers. And that ends up being where she is, and her body is cooked. Unfortunately, though, this makeup was good.
Yeah.
And they said all but I think 1 or 2 shots of her body out of the movie.
Yeah.
Even in the version we saw.
It was too much. It was too gory.
It looked real. Like, I think it looked like what a person who was totally like cooked alive would look like. It was really scary.
Like, good job on that. And then I think the sheriff talks about the smell being awful.
This is so weird. This creeped me out because I was thinking before I saw the body and I didn't know it would be like heated up. I thought she would just be tumbling around in there or something. And I was like, is he smelling the blood? What is he smelling?
He could smell like a body.
Like a cooked body. What it smelled? I wonder what it smelled like.
So also like in the laundrette when he goes in and he's investigating and looking for Mabel, and there's one dryer that has like her bloody corpse in it, he's looking around and he notices that there's a lot of decorations, and all the hearts, there's like hearts cut out on the walls and stuff, they're all turned upside down. And I kid you not, there's at least 20 of these hearts turned upside down, and I'm like, that's like a little bit of extra work for the killer, and also like opportunity to be caught when he's just like flipping the hearts around. Like,
That's true.
That seems like unnecessary.
If he would have just been arrested for vandalizing.
Well, yeah. Like, and it was if he's wearing his outfit, like, who knows? But it just like it was a lot. Like, I don't think he would have taken the time. I mean, I guess he's a creepy dude, so it's supposed to be like his like signature or something.
But it didn't
he's
come
like,
off. It
It
was
like,
not
F you
creepy.
Valentine's Day, gonna flip all that. This is about Valentine's Day. Not having it. So yeah. So like because of the death of Mabel, the Valentine's dance was canceled, but much like the movie Footloose, the kids or the
dance
miners
must go on.
Yeah, they are like, let's just have a party at the mine, which seems like a great idea.
Oh, wait, one thing to
yeah.
jump back to Mabel's body. When they call the coroner, they find a Valentine in her chest cavity.
Oh, that was pretty cool too.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. So they put a little Valentine heart where her heart was.
Yeah. So anyway, so then what Maggie says, they cancel the dance. And this is a note that I have from one of the kids.
Yeah.
I just say, everybody really wants this dance. For about
Yeah.
the 50th time in my notes, I write this down.
Yeah.
And then I say, young teen says, you're just looking for an excuse to cancel a dance. Like,
Whoa!
what a weird line to write in.
Looking for an excuse to cancel a dance.
These stupid adults always wanting to cancel dances.
I mean, it is like Footloose. So
all the teens want to do is mine and dance.
yeah.
That was also a note.
Okay, so I mean, like TJ and Sarah have a little interaction before the party.
Yeah.
Where they go to like a beach.
Yeah.
And so this just makes me even more question where the location is supposed to be. Like, is that a lake?
I took it
or-
as a Great Lake. I thought it was
so
like
Lake Michigan.
I felt
or
like it
something?
was in Michigan, and they were on Lake Michigan. That's
Do they
like
have
what I
coal
took.
mines in Michigan?
I have no idea. Nothing about coal mines.
All right, we need
And
to know.
I didn't do that research.
Me either.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was expecting you to be the coal mine expert of this.
No, it was like the only thing I didn't like
Me too.
care to
We're,
look
like,
up.
looking into the
It's like,
same thing.
I don't want to have to Google coal mines.
Yeah. So I mean, that's fine. So Tej and Sarah have a little interaction. They're like flirting, whatever.
And they're playing like this hilarious romance music. Like, it's the music I imagine, again, my mom like would have thought was like typical cheesy romance in the late 70s.
Oh.
It's like dun, 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 dun. There's like
on the beach
seagulls.
holding each other.
And then the guy says, "Do you remember this spot?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Of course I remember this spot," but it's kind of scandalous, and you're led to believe that it's not because that's like where they first kissed, but where they first had sex.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
It was a little weird because in the way I could tell is TJ's a bit of a creep.
That's the way you could tell.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and then I think they say "I love you," and then or he says "I love you," and she said it would have been nice to know that or something, and his whole thing, and he just up and left to California. And da, da, da. But I feel like after this scene, you're led to believe that like those two kids are gonna end up together.
Yeah. And additional notes on TJ. TJ's teeth are jacked.
You said this already. His teeth really gave.
Wrote it again.
I didn't even notice his teeth. You have like a thing, like you.
TJ really screwed up not calling Sarah.
Wow.
TJ is too forceful.
Well, I think like all the guys in this movie
Yeah.
are a little too forceful. Like, honestly, like okay, so I think the next thing I talked about is like then they start the party.
Yeah,
and
they're at the party.
Where they have the party is in the quote unquote lunchroom of the mine, which is just like a little building above ground. And TJ's outfit,
Oh yeah.
denim on denim, but shirt buttoned down, chest exposed, blue polka dot neckerchief.
Handsome.
Like,
And doesn't his shirt get more unbuttoned?
it gets more unbuttoned when they're in the mine. Like, it's like a little bit like one or two buttons, and you can see the neckerchief. And then when they're in the mine, it is like full, like halfway
They just keep
unbuttoned
increasing
down.
it.
Like, did people wear little neckerchiefs, like men?
I think so. I think that was a trend. Yeah.
It was a very feminine neckerchief, though. It was like polka dots.
Yeah, with little like points. So again, going back to my parents, because this is just like the exact time of they were.
I wish we had our parents as guests on this episode.
check out our blog because I will post a picture of my dad wearing blue on blue with a kerchief
We'll
scarf
post a picture of TJ's outfit, too.
side by side. We're gonna do a who wore it better.
Who wore it best? I mean, Tej is going to be hard to beat, man.
I don't know. Has anyone seen my dad?
I said Happy calls them assholes.
Oh, he just again is like spewing more of his like y'all are gonna die thing.
Yeah, and then Happy gets killed. Side note. So, you know.
So they're having this party. I noted, of course, that they're boiling their hot dogs.
Well, I said, are these people drunk all the time? Once again, they're at the party and they're just drunk some more.
And now I started noting that there begins to be like an obsession with canned beer, and this is where you can tell the influence.
Moosehead?
Yeah, you can tell the influence that Moosehead must have had
On the film itself.
Yeah. Because everyone is constantly opening a can of beer to the point where the soundtrack is just like popping cans constantly.
Oh,
It's
do you
like-
remember that scene where Axel got pissed and walked out of the room? And as he walked out of the room, he like pivoted on one foot, like ripped open his can of beer, and it was like, ka-chew, and then he like
He
shantaed
spun.
away.
Yeah, he did. He was like gone with the
He
wind.
like
Fabulous.
pivoted on
Yeah.
one ball of his foot and was like, ka-chew, with that beer can, and it was really effective.
So yeah, specific exact note. Everyone is so obsessed with beer and constantly popping beers because this like crackling. It actually made me want to like go back to 1980 and get a like pop top can of beer.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. Is this whole movie just
It's
a
so-
subliminal commercial for
It
Moosehead
must be
beer?
because I don't like beer.
Oh man. So, what do you, yeah. what?
I have another good quote. More of the obsession with the Valentine party. What's the name of the funny guy? Howard? Is that his name?
There's Hollis. Howard has the gold tooth, which I don't know if that was a choice or if the actor just had a gold tooth.
Well,
like front tooth.
Which one's the jokester who like
With the mustache, chubby guy?
Oh no, the other one.
The jokester with the gold tooth?
Yeah, gold tooth.
Howard.
Yeah. Okay, so Howard is like, gosh, guys, you're all so serious. We're at a Valentine's party, for God's sake. And then he's like
a Valentine's
telling...
party is like a normal thing.
Yeah, like it's just your everyday run-of-the-mill Valentine's party that everybody loves every year. That we all look forward to year-round.
I mean, it's like Christmas.
And he's snorting beer up his nose with a straw and telling jokes about doing coke.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
I didn't quite understand what was happening there. With
I mean...
They're always doing things to hurt themselves. Like the stabbing, the snorting, like...
It's a little bit weird.
So, I mean, I think then we go into another kind of cool kill where, so now like the kids are at the party, so of course the killer is gonna find them at the party. And there's this guy, I don't know if I know his name right off the bat. Hot Dog Face is what I called him. Oh, it's Dave. Okay, so like Sarah said before, they were boiling hot dogs in a big like pot,
like a noodle pot,
like a big soup pot in the like kitchen of the lunch room of the mine.
Like,
and
that was
that was their snack.
That was the provided food. You just like wander into the kitchen,
pull the hot dog out of the water and put it in a bun,
snag a hot dog,
and then go into the fridge and grab a cold moose head.
Speaking of which, side note, we see a part where I think Hot Dog Face himself is like catcalling at a girl who is supposed to be a fat girl.
Oh.
And she's like maybe at that time a size 2 or 4. And
really? I don't remember
she's
that
like
part.
slamming a hot dog. And the guy goes, what did he say? He made some like sexual advance mixed with a fat joke. And I didn't write it down and I can't remember it.
I missed that. That
but
would
I
have
was
made
like,
me angry.
whoa, they're like fat shaming this thin woman who's eating a boiled hot dog.
Dear God.
So that's what leads him, because he's gonna go try and get her. That's why he goes into the hot dog room.
So is he like into her even though she's so
Yeah.
fat, aka a size 4?
He's like a 1981 chubby chaser / hot dog lover.
Oh my God. So yeah, I want to go back to like the bar scene when we talk about how they talk about women. The guys were like singing a song about how, did you write about this?
Yeah, no.
How the barmaid, aka just like the lady that's bringing them their beers, who works at the bar, they're like singing about how she's like a virgin or something and like all this stuff, and then they were like, come over here, you gorgeous slab of female flesh. So I didn't like that.
And their song that they sing like they sing a full tune,
like a full song, and like it's really awkward because their girlfriends are with them and they just pan to the faces of their girlfriends and they're just like
they don't really have a
they don't have any like expression, like they're not laughing at the guy's song, but they're also not offended.
They're not singing, they just are completely,
they're just like, oh, guys do this.
They're not participants.
Yeah, they're not there, they checked out. But the bartender was like cool with it, I guess. So yeah, like the killer, we'll go back to hot dog guy face, Dave. So the killer pushes his face into the boiling pot of hot dogs. But I said the water really didn't look like it was boiling. It just looked like still water.
Yeah, it did.
But I guess apparently more of the cut footage was his face getting like burnt and stuff. So
yeah, like they pull out his face, show his death, show his face.
So I think it would probably have been better without that like cut footage.
Because it was so heavily cut that really he just sticks his face in like what appears to be cool hot dog water, and then like it's like next end scene.
Yeah, like in fact people online are like, did he drown? And it's like, no, it's supposed to...
did he drown?
I was looking at this. I was like,
that's awesome that someone commented that.
So death count in this movie is really high. Like, so we've already had the heart tat lady in the beginning. We have Mabel, Happy, hot dog face. So the next one is these 2 other kids go out, to make out in some other room, and they get oh, actually, no. Okay, yeah, two kids go to make out, and then the girl gets left behind
to go get beer. So my note for this is 2 people making out, and the girl is like looking up at the ceiling, asking about miners' jackets, and then she's like, hey, how does that miner's jacket come down from the ceiling? And then she's like, you know what would be good? And the guy's like trying to kiss her. Yeah. And she's like, beer. Let's get a couple of beers.
Didn't you say like a couple of brews or brewskis or something?
And then the guy goes and gets it, and she's left alone, and you're waiting for her now to get killed.
That reminds me of that scene in Halloween. I mean, once again, this emphasis on the beer is a bit much, but like, it reminds me of the scene in Halloween where the guy with the Bob goes to get the beer. Like same
exact same thing. Except this was a lot cleaner. Was it because it was Canadian? I don't know.
Like you didn't see like
there's no sex in the movie, is there? Is there any sex in the whole movie?
You see a bra, like the bra in the beginning, but you don't see any full frontal.
There's like, and usually in American films, the story is that first you have sex and then you die, you get killed.
I mean, and that's still the case here.
But they haven't had sex yet. It hasn't happened. Because he pulls out a condom and he's like, look what kind of an idea I have.
And
then she's like, go get beer.
At. Yeah, okay. So, but anyway, then the boyfriend comes back, discovers her hung on a shower spigot. Because you know how we said earlier they all showered together in like a room. It's in that room, and the shower spigot is going through her head and shooting out her mouth.
This is
so
spooky.
The shower water is shooting out her mouth.
This is really cool. And while I was watching this, cool. I thought, because we only see it from kind of like a blurry side back view.
Yeah.
And
just from the side, like profile.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, while we were watching it, I'm surprised they didn't show more. And then I thought, I bet they were, that would have been a really disturbing scene. And I thought, I bet they just chose not to do that. Well, it turns out that's not the case.
That's more that they cut.
Yeah. So you're left wondering. I mean, and I had no idea they cut things when I was watching it.
No,
and
me either.
I think that's the first time I've ever watched a movie and actually thought to myself, wow, they really chose not to show this.
Yeah.
So the cutting was really, really apparent.
Also, like, why are these showers just like tubes that just like hoses that just like spurt water? Like, they're not shower heads. They're just like
I guess because you're constantly like, I don't know how long mines stay up. Like, don't you like keep moving down the tunnel or something? Maybe they have to keep reworking the mine.
They act like this mine has been there at least 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I
think it's just utilitarian. Like, they don't need anything fancy.
But how do you like adjust the temperature, or do they just go in cold, hot, whatever it is?
I don't know. I didn't
because it's just like literally a line of like hoses that are all connected that they all just like scrub their blackened faces.
And we knew that it's not like they're wearing their outfits and rinsing their outfits. We saw them all naked, soaping up.
Yeah. So I mean, it must not be too cold. I don't know. They would get warm wrestling.
If anyone knows anything about coal mining, hit us up.
Yep. So that was interesting. I was like, okay, well, that tube got through her head, and that was pretty crazy. So this was the guy who also did not have a really inappropriate reaction at that time.
Yeah, he stares at her face, like stares within an inch of her face, while the water from her own head is almost like touching him, and he just like looks at her, and then he starts to like sweat profusely and go mad, and he also grabs his own head, just like the guy at the very beginning who gets the heart in the box. And then he runs upstairs and he tells everybody, and then it's like full on now, like panic, like everybody's dying, everybody's dead, and everyone's going crazy. Out.
Oh, and then but right before that though, a little note I made was some girls are looking at the hot dogs, like some girls and like one guy, and they're like digging through the pot of hot dogs, and one like pulls out with tongs like a cooked human heart that was placed in from hot dog face. It was his heart.
Yeah.
Put into the pot of hot dogs. They're like, we're going to kill you by drowning you / boiling you in a pot of hot dogs. Then we're going to cut out your heart and put it in with the hot dogs. Just go ahead and put it in with the hot dogs.
And everyone.
But the water wasn't like bloody or anything. The water was still clear, and there was just a cooked heart. And they're like, what's this? And then they're like, oh, those guys, such jokers.
Like it's normal,
just like a pig heart or cow heart on Valentine's Day,
and as if those people wouldn't have cared. They would have been like, "Oh yeah, these hot dogs."
And then they were acting like they were still going to eat the hot dogs.
Although, if you think about what's in a hot dog, I bet there's some hearts in there,
but still
not human ones.
Well, no, but I think they assumed it wasn't human at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I wouldn't eat a hot dog that had been cooked with like another animal heart.
It's a little bit
that I didn't know where it came from. But I guess they were just like, oh, Valentine's fun.
And also it's the 80s, and so people are like,
I guess you should be connected to your food and realize you are eating animals.
Yeah. Like there's definitely heart in hot dog because it's just scrap.
Okay. All right, so you feel like it's more reasonable.
Well, no, I don't think they thought through it like that.
I was just like, why are they still going to eat these hot dogs, though?
I just know that, like, my grandma and my mom would be like, let's eat the hearts out of, like, turkeys and, like, giblets or whatever. Like, I feel like people don't eat that stuff anymore.
They do, to some extent. I guess you're right. Maybe they thought it just, like, accidentally was in the package.
They were like, oh, look, a cow heart. Whoops. And that was that.
Yeah, I think they thought it was a prank or something. But then they were eating them, and that's kind of gross because they were eating hot dogs that were boiled with a human heart.
Yeah, like, which is more of the cannibalism.
So then, like, right at the time when this guy who was having sex with the girl who got impaled on the shower head comes running out, then some girl finds the hot dog face dead in the refrigerator.
Yep.
So they're all like, okay, 2 people are dead. This is crazy. There's a panic.
And now they all think it's that Harry guy, the original killer. Like, he's back. We shouldn't have had the Valentine dance.
Yeah, but meanwhile, a group of the like young adults have decided to go down into the mine and take a tour. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite lines, like least favorite, was when TJ saw them going down there, and it's his dad's mine, and he goes, "No women in the mine."
Yeah.
You know the rule. So
no women in the mine. And then then my other note was like, why do they all want to go into the mine so bad?
I mean, I could see how that could be fun. I would want to go in.
I'd just be like, it's some dark, dirty corridors with coal.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
So some trivia. This was filmed in Canada at mines called Sydney Mines.
Which is cool because my single note for the set for the entire movie was mine set feels super believable.
Because it's a real mine.
Because it's a real mine.
Yeah. And that's cool that they actually filmed in a real mine and not on a soundstage or something. It's 2,700 feet underground, which was the trickiest part of production, I guess, because they did have to take like lifts and trains and all those things to get down. And there was actually kind of a mistake because they picked this town in Canada based on the mine and it being a small town and stuff, and the mine being like rustic and all that. And the town got so excited there was going to be a movie film there that they cleaned up the mine. And
they spent like $50,000 to clean the mine. Yeah, to make it look like it hadn't been used. And they were like, that's the reason why we picked it.
Yeah, so it was a little counterproductive, but it still looked good. So, yeah, they went down to the mine. And, of course, people start getting killed in the mine, too.
And this kind of takes us through the end, then.
Yeah, so, like, one by one, people are getting picked off in the mine. And the only people you're not seeing are TJ and Axel. And they're the ones that are in the love triangles. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, also, people just keep repeatedly saying that it's Harry whatever.
Yeah, the original guy.
Killer.
But, like, clearly we don't think it is.
Yeah.
And since then, the police officer is called the mental institution where he's supposed to be, and they claim that they don't have him there anymore, but it's not really convincing. And so, like, we're as we're watching this, we're pretty sure that it's either TJ or Axel. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe they're going to do a double, and that's where Scream got their idea. It's going to be both of them.
The old Scream technique, 2 killers. Yeah, because they did do a really awkward, before they went down in the mine to, like, quote unquote save everyone.
Yeah,
they did like a weird handshake and we're like, good luck down there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay.
It kind of seemed like they were ready for their little finale together.
Yeah. Also, yeah, that's when TJ's when he gets down in the mine, that's when his shirt gets unbuttoned more.
All the way. Nearly all the way. Just held on by a button or two.
All the freaking way.
And so I also noted this really bugged me, which it's a horror movie, so it's like you expect it, but the whole time, so first of all, why do they want to go into the mine? Sure, fine, they want to go into the mine, but then they just like suddenly they're underground. Yeah. They're being convinced and lured further. They're already slightly scared and have been spooked, but they still just can't help but keep breaking off and having sex in dirty corners of the mine.
No, not at all. I had a note about that. I said awkward sex scene between unknowns equals invite to die. And that definitely did happen. That was I think John and Sylvia were their names, so R.I.P.
They were a bit of an odd couple.
Or no, that wasn't Sylvia. It was Mike and Harriet doing it in the mine. I'm sorry.
And apparently that scene was another scene that was cut out. We just see the end result. They were put together with like a big old mine drill.
Yeah, pickaxe just went through both of them. Hollis, we got to like Hollis a little bit. He was like kind of a goofy guy with a big mustache, and he got nail gunned in the head. Howard, our gold tooth guy. Okay, you know about climbing the ladder?
Yeah, I read about this one too. Oh. This made so much more sense.
Yeah.
So when you watch the movie and they're climbing the ladder, it's like suddenly there's a
They're trying to get out of the mine and the lifts have broken, so they're climbing a huge ladder.
Yeah. And there's like a body that comes flying down the mine shaft that looks like it's been hung, and then it kind of like breaks loose and then it falls onto the ground. And then they suddenly are all covered in blood and backing back down the ladder. And I'm like, wait, how did they get covered in blood? And why are they now terrified and going back down the ladder? They were almost out of the mine. Well, it's because they cut out all of the bits of that made any sense. Do you have those notes, Maggie?
No, I just have the bit that they made it less gory.
Oh, yeah. So what had happened was, if you will, they were supposed to drop, which guy is that? That's Howard. So they were supposed to drop Howard down because earlier he said, when he was being a goofball at the earlier party, he says, oh, I'd lose my head if it wasn't connected to me. And so he's hung. He is dropped down until the cord can't reach, right at the point where they are on the ladder. He's then decapitated by the rope, which sprays them totally with blood.
Yeah, I didn't understand why they got so sprayed with blood in the version we saw.
And then his body falls all the way down. So it tied in with the script. It was supposed to be one of the scariest, goriest parts of the movie, and they cut the whole thing out. So then the main characters just look like idiots, and now they're covered in blood.
I mean, seeing someone being hanged, but it's like, with a hanging, there's not usually blood. So, yeah. I said gold tooth guy, R.I.P.
It's funny because I didn't notice his gold tooth.
Oh my god, but you noticed the other guy's just jacked up to you? So, yeah, at this point I'm noticing the kills again. We've already had 9 kills. And then I said, Patty, no! 10! So, we have our final girl. Yep. Only person left standing is Sarah. And Axel and Tej. So, we see Tej. And then we finally do see the killer with the mask, the coal mining mask.
And they have a really odd fight scene
Yes.
where they slowly fight.
Picks and shovel. Lots of pick and shovel action. Like,
they're like, I mean, it's the
slowest.
They
slow
had to have
walking.
been moving in slow motion, like in real life. Like,
They were just crawling.
it was like slowly lifting an axe over your head, and the other guy being like, "Whoa!" and then slowly lifting your shovel to meet the axe, and that was like one of their clashes.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, like,
I just put it was so clumsy. It was horrible.
oh yeah,
and it wasn't scary at all.
They were climbing on this little train, and you know the whole like thing in a movie where people are fighting on top of a moving train, and I think that's what they were trying to do. But it was like a slow moving like child's train, and they were fighting with like
a coal car.
shovels and picks, walking slowly.
And then they hop off the coal car.
Yeah, they do,
And like,
because it's like no problem to hop off because it's going so slow.
and at this point, like the cops are coming and they're scrambling into like this little portion, and then they finish their fight, and this annoyed me so much. Of course, that Sarah like can't help them, and she's just like,
Didn't she do something?
She picked up a rock and hit the killer guy with it.
And at that point, I thought, can the killer not be hurt? Kind of like Michael Myers. I had that question, but I don't think that ended up being the case.
No.
So, do you remember how it's revealed who the killer is? I mean, they pull off his mask, but how does that come about?
Yeah, so when they pull off his mask, then we see that it's Axel, and then they flash back,
We have another flashback.
to Axel's dad was killed by the original guy.
Harry Warden.
So Axel's dad was one of the guys who skipped out
One of the supervisors.
on the original mine collapse, which caused then our main original guy to be a killer.
So this is what I didn't quite get was, okay, there's like 10 deaths in this movie, and they're all pretty random. Like, they're not pointed kills. Like, the first killer killed the supervisors. So why is the son of the supervisor just killing everyone?
Yeah, I think
He's supposed to just be messed up.
Yeah, I think they just want you to believe that he's become completely crazy and he just wants to kill everyone and anyone.
Got it. So he like really loses it. Like, all the police are coming, all this stuff, like there's like a collapse of some like rubble, and it falls onto his arm, and then he rips his arm off.
Wait, did you notice this part?
I thought that it was Patty, and it was her arm.
So Patty did reach out with her arm to show, I think, that she was still alive.
You think?
Because she had that little ring on.
I think. See, this is where I'm confused.
And like ladies' fingers.
So that's what I thought at first. Did the hand move?
Yeah, it was like...
Oh.
Like straight
then
out.
Then that had to be. But also he ripped his arm off.
He did rip his arm off. But I didn't know that, and that's supposed to be a throwback to when the original guy Harry is found in the mine eating the arm. Like, it's supposed to be a little bit of resonance there. But
so
like,
he got
it's hard to
trapped under
see.
the rubble, and also the rubble fell on Patty's body, and Patty might not be completely dead. We don't know. I mean, she's listed on the internet as one of the kills, so I don't
then
know.
maybe she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And like Sarah's like, I have to see Patty, and then they see the rubble, like I guess they see like Axel and running away from the rubble with
This is
only one
weird.
arm, and he goes, Sarah, be my Bloody Valentine.
And then he starts singing.
Yeah, he sings.
He's like, no, no, no.
He sings, Daddy, You're Away, Harry Warden Made You Pay. And that's the end of the movie. And I said, Patty lives. So,
my note was, did Patty die?
oh my God, that's the great mystery of this film. So there were 10 deaths in this slasher film, including Patty, so 9 if not. Halloween only had 6 deaths.
But they were much more bang for your buck.
Friday the 13th had 9 to 10 as well. 9 by Mrs. Voorhees, and 1 at the end where Mrs. Voorhees gets killed. Spoiler alert. So it's like the same as Friday the 13th amount of deaths. But I really feel like they were trying to like get that death count up. Also, I just wanted to shout out our final girl, Sarah, who is not very, like, strong or great.
No, in fact, I noted that the whole time she keeps saying the same line over and over during the entire mine scene.
Yeah.
And she keeps saying to Patty, do as he says, do as he says, do as he says.
So
And it's
about TJ.
I noticed it because it's kind of an old-timey phrase.
Yeah.
But it's about TJ, and to the point where I became suspicious of her. Like, maybe her and TJ are in it together.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, but they weren't. She just really trusted him.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the only character I found really endearing was Patty.
Yeah, me too.
She, for some reason, she's like a little bit more of an independent woman, wearing a like dress with a slit in it, like excited about the party, living her life. She really was upset when her fiance Hollis was killed. Mm-hmm. She, like, you really believed her sadness. She was also wearing her engagement ring on the wrong hand, I noticed, because she had an engagement ring to Hollis, presumably, but it was on the wrong hand. So that's really it. I mean, I also want to mention that Lori Hollier, who was the final girl, Sarah, she is a Canadian actress, and she was also the mom in the movie Night of the Twisters, which 90s teen heartthrob Devon Sawa.
Is awesome, because when Maggie and I were, how old were we? In 1996, when we were quite young.
Well, whenever, is it from 1996?
It's from 96, okay. Yeah. We would watch this movie like every weekend.
I had the really big crush on Devon Sawa, who is a Canadian, like, preteen actor back then. Kind of like JTT of he was like the America. Canadian JTT. Yeah. So that's cool. I was like, we were both like, whoa, when we saw that. So yeah, I think we've gone through most of it. Sarah, something I texted Sarah the night of that we watched this movie later on was so fuck, marry, kill.
But it was
between Axel, Tej, and Hollis.
Hollis. Okay. So I was thinking about this,
but you could pick other people if you really want to.
So I really like Happy.
Oh my god! What would you do to Happy?
So I would marry Happy.
Oh my god!
And I would kill Axel.
Yeah.
And
then who would you fuck?
You got to get down with Tej.
Tej is it. Oh man! So I had trouble with this too. I mean, I think kill Axel is the most obvious.
But your girl Patty, she's engaged to Hollis. You got to trust her instincts. He could be a good guy.
You know, I was gonna say I think I'd maybe marry Patty.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then I would also fuck Tej.
Tej is getting all the ladies.
Like that neckerchief. I mean, really, he's very sexual. So Sarah, what's your rating of this? Well, okay, first of all,
wait, what was our rating for this? What was our?
I'm going to tell you. But before we get into the rating, did you think this movie was scary?
No.
Okay. So we'll skip right to the rating. So out of...
Did you think it was scary? Were you scared?
I was never scared.
Okay. So.
But no. I was scared in Halloween.
Yeah, me too. And still when I watch it, it's a scary movie.
So something missed the mark.
I thought, I put it down in my notes, I thought that editing and directing and also just lighting, even the miking of them, they were like maxing out their mics. Like, you never felt that it was real.
Good. The music was pretty good. The deaths were really inventive, like really cool, and I appreciate that. But they just didn't hit. Like, no. It wasn't
none
like,
of them did. Yeah. And it was all the same vibe, and I don't know what it was.
I mean, the closest to being scary would have been Mabel, probably.
Yeah, agree. And also, I was thinking this has to be...
Or the showerhead girl.
That's
Sylvia.
Spooky. I think they should have let them show it. And then
I think if they would have shown the 9 minutes that were edited out that made it rated X.
And then,
which nowadays it would not.
Another note, I thought this must be so low budget. And then I looked, and it cost 2.3 million Canadian dollars in 1981.
Wow.
So that's an expensive movie.
What is the Canadian? Isn't there a funny name?
The Loonie?
Yeah. How much is the Loonie compared to the dollar?
Is it less than $1?
No, they're probably more.
Is it more? I think it's been both.
Okay. I mean, we're probably not doing great right now. So we're going to rate all these movies in a scale of 5. And in this particular case, we're going to say, I'm going to ask you, what's your rating out of 5 human hearts and Valentine boxes?
I would give it a solid 1 human heart in a Valentine box.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's low. I
didn't like it. And there's a million that are better than this. And like, come on. Yeah. 1981 Canadian directors and writers, get it together. Come up with a new concept.
Yeah.
I did like your shower scene, and for that I will give you 1.
1.
What about you?
1. Okay. I would give it a 2. Well, okay. There's so many more worse movies I've seen. So for this reason.
But for
And
them,
also,
I'd give them 0, so that's why they get 1.
oh, you can give 0?
Yeah, you can give a 0. You could say I refuse. On our scale, from now on,
between 0 and 5.
you can give a 0. Because 0 means I'm not even going to mess with it.
Okay. So, I mean, sadly, I think I would just give it 2 human hearts and Valentine boxes out of 5. So, so that's it for today's episode.
Oh, wait, we have one more funny thing.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that you check out our blog. Go
yeah.
to scarereview.com. And we're going to be blogging some visuals that go along with either things that we've talked about. I will show my dad in the same costume as TJ. And then Maggie can show the picture she took of her screen when we bought this from Amazon, and the review that was either translated or so poorly written that I'm not sure who they're hiring.
I can read it real quick. I mean, Amazon, get on it. Okay, here's the description on Amazon, which is why I did not read this description at the beginning. There's a big Valentine's Day party planned in the little mining town of Valentine's Bluff. It is the first Valentine's party in 20 years because then there was an accident in the mine, and the accident happened because the men responsible for the security were at the party.
Really,
there you have it.
Draws you in.
There was also...
I mean, I watched the movie and we read that description. We read it like 4 times. I'm like, I still don't understand it.
It was great. Also, there was a screen with notable quotes from the movie.
This is this is my favorite part. This is better than the movie itself.
Do you remember what the quotes were?
Well, I can tell you that the best quote of the entire movie,
who was the person
as spoken by the mayor,
Mayor Harrington,
was, yeah. Quote,
yeah.
Quote,
period.
The Mayor Harrington.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I don't think I wrote down any of the other ones, but we have pictures of both of those screens. Mm-hmm. So we'll put those, and we'll also put the outfits, anything else that we found interesting. So that'll be a little extra content on our actual website, on the blog post that has the audio of this podcast.
Yep, and you can tweet us at scarereview. You can check us out on Instagram at scarereview, and send us an email. We're scarereview@gmail.com, and we'll feature emails or comments and questions from all social media and emails in our next podcast. So hit us up and give us comments, give us feedback. We'll include you.
All right, until next time.
Be spooky. Okay, bye.